One that's hard to make, though, hard to replicate.
Peter Olison is a third-generation owner. O&H is celebrating its 75th year, but do you know if Wisconsin considers the Kringle our official pastry? The answer coming up.
The 500 square foot corner bakery to offering our products by mail.
Baker Mike Massinellis says their Kringle is shipped near and far. The tradition began when the Danes came to Racine in the late 1800s. And it is that past and present which created our official state pastry, the Kringle, in 2013. And it's a you can't have just one slice of Wisconsin. I'm Terry Barr for the Civic Media Radio Network.
Jane Matnair and Greg Bach.
Coming up on the show, Wisconsin Senator Tammy Baldwin will be joining us. Also, Paul Noonan to talk all things sports, and Aaron.
Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood.
Whatever gets you through the night, it's all right.
And now, a guy still not convinced computers are here to stay, Pete Schwaba.
All right. Well, it took us a little while, folks, but we got it together here, and we are lighting it up. A little late tonight due to some technical difficulties we had, but our outstanding engineers in Madison and here in Green Bay worked tirelessly to get us live on the air. So it is great to be with you, and hopefully better late than never. Wherever you are in Wisconsin, welcome to Nite Lite. I am Pete Schwaba, and riding shotgun here and working diligently to get us on the air is the lovable producer, Conrad. Well done, young man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Tip of the hat to, who is it, Chris Casper? Drew?
It was Drew.
Well done, Drew. You guys are the best. Thank you for getting us back on the air. Glad we could be with you, and we will bring you the last 3 quarters of Nite Lite tonight. Conrad, let's get the question in quick before we bring Dan in. Can we do that?
Let's talk about the question.
Okay, question.
Question.
Pregunta.
Question.
Question.
Okay, I have a question. Questions?
This question.
Domanda. Question.
Question.
Questions.
What app can you not live without? That's right. It is National App Day, ladies and gentlemen. National App Day. So our question tonight, we're doing it in a very abbreviated fashion here so we can get to our guests. What app can't you live without? Let us know. 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. I'll start. My poker app. I got to play Texas Hold'em. I've probably been playing for 20 years. I cannot live without my Texas. Now, email aside and all the things that technically are apps like banking and stuff like that, what's the one app you're kind of addicted to? Let us know on the text line, on the stream, or on the app. However you are finding us, just please find us and be part of the show. Conrad, what about you?
I would have to say it's YouTube for me.
Really? Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, you know
I
what?
watch a lot of content, I feel like, on there, and I feel like if I didn't have it, I'd be like, whoa.
Yeah, me too.
I have to watch a movie now. I can't just watch like a 13 minutes.
It's probably a close second to me too. So, but let us know what you think. We've got a great show tonight, even though it's abbreviated. Coming up at 7:05, Kurt Krause will be here in studio talking independent film and about his latest project. He is a Northeastern Wisconsin-based actor. But right now, let's not waste any more time. The kidding around is pretty much over. I'm very excited to welcome this next guest. He joined the Civic Media team a few months ago. He's an absolute political rock star, and he is an award-winning, he's the creator of the award-winning Recombobulation Area, a weekly column and online publication and podcast. Please join me, if you would, in welcoming Milwaukee journalist and Civic Media's own Dan Schaefer. Dan, how are you?
Good evening, Mr. Schwaba. So glad to be with you.
It's great to have you. I didn't think this was going to happen, but we've got a great team here at Civic Media, and they got us up and running. And I've been trying to have you on the show for a while now, so it's really fun. I love what you do, and you make politics and current events fun, and I absolutely love it.
Well, I appreciate that so much, and it's been quite the project getting the Recombobulation Area up and running, and growing the project and all of that, and now it's even better to be joining everyone else here in the Civic Media extended universe.
Oh, well said. Are Are you okay? I have to get this out of the way. My wife was excited you're on the show tonight because she's also a UW Oshkosh grad.
Excellent.
I did my research on you, and it's exciting. You've come a long way from the advanced Titan into the world of major national news and political politics. So great job.
Yeah, that's right. My first byline was at the UW Oshkosh Advanced Titan. My sophomore year of college, I started writing opinion columns. A friend of mine in my English class was working at the Advanced Titan at the time. He said, "Hey, you're a pretty good writer. Would you ever want to write for the newspaper?" And I was like, "Oh, that sounds like a pretty good idea." And here we are, 20 years later.
How about that?
Working in journalism. That's right.
Very cool. We also have a mutual friend, at least according to LinkedIn, Brad Lichtenstein. Do you know Brad?
Yeah, I think I covered Brad's work when he was doing some documentaries in and around Milwaukee.
Yeah.
A couple famous moments in the kind of after Act 10 was passed a decade or so ago that he was able to capture.
He makes such good films, and he made a film called When Claude Got Shot. I interviewed him on my PBS TV show a few years ago. Great guy, great interview. So I feel like we're connected through many channels here, and it's a great way to kick off this interview, Dan.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, it's Wisconsin is a big, small town in a lot of ways. We've all got like 1 or 2 degrees of separation between our neighbors around the state, don't we?
absolutely. For those listening who haven't heard you on Civic Media, and I doubt there are many people, but just in case, tell us about the Recombobulation podcast and column and how it came to be. That's a great name, by the way.
Yeah, well, I know if I got nothing else right with the whole project, I got the name right. I've always loved the name so I of course used the name from the Milwaukee airport, the famous post security area at the Milwaukee airport. You go through security, you take your shoes off, get everything through to get scanned and all of that. And then they have the signs up after you get through that says the recombobulation area. And now recombobulation area is not a word. It's not anything that is sanctioned at any official airport. It's something that's done in any kind of official capacity. And it's just uniquely Milwaukee. And I worked at Milwaukee Magazine, about a decade ago now, and we were doing one of our best of issues. And one of the ideas that I pitched was the recombobulation area as one of the best of things in Milwaukee. And I got to learn a little bit more about it. And the former airport director, Barry Bateman, was just kind of a quirky guy. And he came up with this idea to have signs once you go through security, because, it's a discombobulating process, right? So you go through security and you piece everything together. And I thought that would be a great name for a weekly opinion column, because we have this discombobulating news cycle in the state of Wisconsin. And, you need a place to kind of take a moment, take a beat, get your shoes back on, piece everything together before you get to your destination. So I started that, the recombobulation area. Actually, it was a part-time effort that I started it. I was a stay-at-home dad at the time, started this in late 2019, and,
oh, wow.
Started it as a weekly opinion column. And basically something to do while my daughters were napping, and then picked it up from there. Eventually grew it to be, my full-time job and small business and all of that. And then, of course, as you mentioned earlier this summer, we joined the Civic Media Network, and I'm now the political editor at Civic Media, along with being the founder and operator of the recombobulation area, which has grown to include podcasts and other contributors and the occasional video interview and all sorts of fun stuff. So it's been quite the journey.
Love stories like that, where you just kind of started off, like you said, in your home while your daughters are napping. Next thing you know, you're a mogul, Dan. You're building it into, you're almost at mogul status. So that's pretty cool. What are your favorite stories, without getting into too much inside baseball, regarding politics? What are your favorite type of stories to cover? Elections or breaking news regarding a politician or a scandal? It seems like your job there's never a dull moment.
Yeah, I really like to approach things from a lot of different ways. I can sometimes I'll be the data guy, and I'll be it'll be a deep dive on the numbers, on the polling, whatever it might be. And then sometimes I will take some time for a really big, feature story where I interview, dozens of people and try to stitch together a narrative. And then other times it will just be, it'll be very much like an opinion column. It'll be what I have to say about a certain topic and what have you. So, I really like to, write about things, approach things from a lot of different ways. I'm a big basketball fan, and the way I kind of think about it is you can't just score one way, right? You're not, you can't score
Right.
just shooting 3-pointers. You gotta score at the rim. You gotta make your free throws. You gotta you gotta make some long distance shots and all of that. So you gotta, I really like to have a broad scope of ways to cover news and politics and try to do it in a way that is digestible and interesting and can, offer people an opportunity to really take some deep dives on some big topics too. One of the big projects that I've worked at the Recombobulation area for the last couple of election cycles, and this year brought over to the Civic Media Network, was I wrote a preview series of every last race on the ballot for the Wisconsin State Legislature. So yes,
Right.
I'm the only guy crazy enough to preview all 115 races in the Wisconsin State Legislature. But I think, those types of deep dives, that's the stuff that I really like to get into.
That's the epitome. That is the epitome of a deep dive. I'm talking to Dan Schaefer. He is the Civic Media political editor and does great work here under the same roof. Let me ask you this, Dan. When it comes to politics, who is someone on the left and someone on the right that you think has a bright future in the party or could bring people together looking down the road a bit? Is there someone in each party?
Well, let's, I like to keep things local. So we'll start, just focusing on people, I guess, within Wisconsin. There's a whole lot of different approaches you could take to
Sure.
answer that question on a national scale, but I'll talk about Wisconsin first here. And so I am, of course, based in Milwaukee. And when I was just getting started, one of the first races I really covered around here was the one for Milwaukee County Executive when it was an open race in early 2020. And one of the people I endorsed in that race actually was now County Executive David Crowley. And, he has, he's a real up and comer in Milwaukee politics. He was just reelected last year to his second term. And he really tries to approach politics as a bridge builder and wants to bring people together. He was in the legislature before running for Milwaukee County Executive and talked about taking a bipartisan approach on different things. And I think, especially in Milwaukee, where we have, it can be a very segregated city in a lot of ways. We can have a lot of polarizing politics between the city and the suburbs. And I think Crowley really takes, a very forward thinking, inclusive type of approach to being a county executive. And I do think that's going to bode well for him in the future. He's a pretty young guy as well. He's, like I said, he's in his second term. He's a millennial like myself and in his late 30s. And, I know he also has, I've run into him around town a few times. He also has daughters, young daughters, and I also have young daughters. So we have a lot in common that way as well. So I think, I think he's somebody with a real bright future in Wisconsin politics.
Cool. Is there a local person from the right? I don't even know if he is from the right or left, who you just said, but is there someone on the other side of the aisle that you think coming up could unite people or has a bright future?
Yeah, that's an interesting. Well, so David Crowley is a Democrat, of course.
Okay.
So he is coming from that side of things. Somebody maybe I don't necessarily agree with all the time, but somebody who I do think it does have a bright future in the state, I think, is Brian Stile. I do take a close look at the numbers, a lot of these races, and he was just reelected in the first congressional district. And even though that he had more, he was coming up against more spending this cycle than he had in previous ones. He expanded his margins a little bit. So I do think he has a potentially bright future in the state of Wisconsin as well.
Great answers. We are going to, I want to ask you before we do a quick break here, Dan, do you have a favorite political or journalism movie?
Oh, that's a great question.
I
don't like
Spotlight.
Yeah, I'll go with Spotlight. I really did like
the President's
Spotlight a
Men.
lot. Yeah, I'll go with that one. That was a more recent one. I had Wisconsin native Mark Ruffalo in that one.
Yeah.
So good to have a Wisconsin connection with that one. Yeah, I would say Spotlight as a more recent one. I would say, a show that I like, I watch more TV shows than I do movies. And this is a show that gets to a lot of different parts of government, a lot of different parts of journalism. My favorite show of all time is The Wire on HBO.
Great show. I'm totally with you.
And I think, you know, people will talk about like what's the best show of all time, and people will say The Sopranos or Mad Men or Breaking Bad. I will always go with The Wire. And I think, you know, living in Milwaukee, there's a lot of comparisons to be made between Milwaukee and Baltimore. And what have you there. So I think that's my favorite show of all time.
That's a great point. And that's a great political show, too. They deal with City Hall and the police department. Phenomenal show by David Simon. Dan Schaefer is here. When we come back, I'm going to ask him. He got a shout out recently from a pretty famous person. I'll ask him about that. And we'll ask him what movies he loves to watch or hopes his kids pick because he has to sit through them, too. This is Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Scrambled TV dinners and ginger ale. Oh, when Pierre found work, the little money come and worked out well. C'est la vie, said the old folks, goes to show you never can tell. They had a high five ball on board and they let it fly.
97.9 WGBW and WGBW.FM.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
The Dom Salvia Show.
Harvey K., Professor Emeritus of Democracy. We're talking about the Act 10 overturned by a Dane County judge.
I think it's important for everyone to know that this was the state that in 1959 first granted public employees the right to organize and bargain collectively. We have a lot to take back. You know, I used to say take back America. Well, I say take back Wisconsin.
The Dom Salvia Show. Weekdays from 4 till 6 on the Civic Media Radio Network and on the Civic Media app. The Todd Alba Show.
Kash Patel, who Trump has nominated to be the head of the FBI, saying he wants to basically shut down the main parts of the FBI. Bill Barr, MAGA Republican Attorney General to Donald Trump. Quote, the very idea of moving Patel into a role like this showed a shocking detachment from reality, unquote. This is not the left calling out Patel. This is the right.
The Todd Alba Show. Weekdays noon till 2 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
You are listening to your local Civic Media radio station on air. Thank you. Did you know we are always streaming on TuneIn and the Civic Media app too? And if you miss a show or game, find it wherever you get your podcasts or on our website, civicmedia.us.
That first time seeing my son, I feel like my life did a 180. He really a definition of like why he loves somebody.
Through all the fatherhood's first, never stop.
Welcome back. Steve says, Steve's in the 920. He says, Google Maps is an app I use every day. Due to my job, this app would have saved a lot of arguments on family trips trying to read a real paper map back in the day. I kind of miss the paper map. I have to be honest. I have no idea where I am now. And if my app is down, I'm screwed. Conrad's mom checks in and says, since we have moved to a different town, I can't live without Google Maps to find my way around. Well, there you go. Sounds like there's a blissful marital harmony there with the Krieger household. We will read more of your texts in just a bit. We're playing catch up here. What is an app you can't live without? It's National App Day, and that's our question of the night here on Nite Lite. Kurt Krause is coming up soon. We are going to talk about indie film here in Wisconsin and a new project he is working on. And right now, I'm excited to have Civic Media political editor and founder of the Recombobulation Area. If you haven't checked it out, it's a great podcast and an online publication. You can check it all out at civicmedia.us. And the creator of said Recombobulation Area, I can't stop saying that name, I love it so much, is Dan Schaefer, and he is here with us on the stream right now. Dan, we were talking about The Wire, and I've been on the air just a little over a year, and I always feel like when I really like a show and I want to do it justice or pay homage to it somehow, I get overwhelmed and I don't know how to do it, because I can't spend too much time on it. But The Wire is one of those shows. And do you have a favorite character?
Oh man, there's so many good characters on that show. What I would say, one of my favorites is Bunny Colvin, the police.
Oh yeah,
sergeant who tries to do things a little bit differently and keeps running up against blocks. Another Lester Freeman. He likes to he wants to follow the money. He's one of my favorites. And then you gotta love Omar. I mean, he absolutely classic, legendary character, played so well by the late Michael K. Williams.
He was so great, and he would walk the streets at night and rob drug dealers. And when you heard Omar whistling in the alley, the tough guys went running. It was so great. It was just such an excellent show. And Lance Reddick was on the show too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Played a very similar role on Bosch, which I also love as a cop show. But he was great on The Wire too. Hey Dan, you recently, or maybe a couple months ago, got a shout out from Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And I don't even remember where I saw it, if it was somebody shared it from Civic Media or if it was on your Twitter feed, but what a cool thing. Seinfeld is such a great show. She's so great. How did you get connected with her? How did she become aware of you? Do you even know?
It was just kind of one of those fortuitous things that happened. So about a year and a half ago now, I was working on a bunch of coverage of the 2023 Wisconsin Supreme Court race. And I got a message from somebody who said they were, connected to Julia Louis-Dreyfus, saying, "Hey, we want to, get involved with this race. We want to talk to, some advocates, some influencers, some different people in the mix for this race." And ended up, it just happened to be one of the people that she got in touch with for this, and then was able to kind of connect with her team and all of that. And it was a really exciting opportunity. And then I wrote a piece at the time, was about that race, about, some of the big issues in it, about gerrymandering and about how that issue connected to so many other ones in Wisconsin. And then she was able to promote that on her various social channels. And then again, this year, when we made the big announcement that I would be joining Civic Media, she congratulated me on her Twitter feed there as well. And it's so funny the way these things work, right? I'm a huge Seinfeld fan, and I was on the phone with my sister. We share a Netflix account. She lives in a different state, and we were talking. We realized that we were both independently doing a Seinfeld rewatch at the time, and this was right like days before I got the message from her team that they wanted to get involved or something. So it's almost like, when you have an app open and you say you're out of toothpaste, and all of a sudden you get a bunch of toothpaste ads on your Facebook feed or whatever it is. It almost felt like that for me, saying, because as we were doing the talking about the rewatch, we were both saying that her performance as Elaine on that show, it maybe holds up as well as anything from that series still today. And she's such an absolute legend. It was such a joy to be able to work with her on that.
That's so cool. And you're right. Her character, it's so strange. And I didn't realize this till you just said that. The guys they're still funny, but they're not outdated. But there's something, if something is dated about Seinfeld, it's those performances. But she is like this, I don't know. She's just like a trailblazer. As
she
like
transcends time and space, and then, and then you look at all of the stuff with her as Selena Meyer and as Veep. And all of that. She's just, the greatest comedic actress of all in American history.
It's a pretty good fan to have. Pretty good fan to have there, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So when you're done covering politics at the end of the day, aside from The Wire, what are you watching now? You said you're more of a TV watcher than a movie watcher. What do you watch from an adult standpoint on TV before we get into your kids' movies?
Yeah. So, as a parent of young children, I don't get a chance to go see a lot of movies in the theater. But it does also mean that I'm home at night a lot of the times. And after I put my kids to bed, I like to watch, just different dramas, TV shows, things like that. I guess the most recent one that I really got into was the, kind of the HBO spin-off show from the Batman universe, the show The Penguin.
Oh yeah, great
which,
show.
Colin Farrell has a performance as the Penguin there. It's a really good.
Do you even believe that's him? It's so crazy.
It took me a couple episodes to even like put it
Yeah.
together that it was him.
Hey,
he was
Dan,
incredible.
Can we
in that show.
keep you for a couple minutes after the news?
Yeah, sure.
We want to take a quick Christmas movie quiz. Dan and I are going to take it at the same time. Conrad picked like 4 movies. We'll do that. We'll just have a couple minutes more before we can send Dan back to take care of his kids tonight after Civic Media's award-winning news teams keeps you informed. This is Pete Schwaba and Nite Lite. We'll have more with Dan Schaefer when we come back on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Go! Go! We going riding on the freeway. Love is against our plan.
This is the talk of Green Bay, WGBW. Todd Albaugh.
Hey, everybody, join us next time for a very special edition of the show. You know how fascism creeps in? On little cat's feet. Matt Flynn in the guest host chair. Join him.
The Todd Albaugh Show, weekdays noon till 2.
In the market for a home loan? It's time to meet Kristen Ambos, the top 1% of loan originators in the U.S. and the #1 female loan officer in Wisconsin for 2 years running. With over 20 years experience, Kristen and Point Mortgage Corporation are here to serve all of your lending needs, from conventional to FHA, USDA, and VA loans. Plus, with their rate match guarantee,
Bite can occur within 30 minutes when it's this cold outside. Winds are expected to gain speed and gust up to 40 miles per hour.
The Badgers lose again. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Men's college basketball. A bit of a shocker. Wisconsin could not keep up and lost to the Fighting Illini in Champaign, 86-80. Badgers head coach Greg Gard asked if he was surprised how well unranked Illinois played against them.
I think there's a lot of parity across the league. I don't know if there's a dominant team. I haven't seen them all exclusively, but there's a lot of really good teams, but we got a long ways to go.
The Badgers have now lost 3 in a row. College football, the Wisconsin Badgers have now lost both their starting quarterbacks. First, it was Tyler Van Dyke earlier this week, and today, Braden Locke, announcing he too is entering the transfer portal out of Madison. NFL, the Packers play the Seahawks Sunday night. Safety Zane Anderson on what they saw on film in their loss to the Lions in Detroit.
It's frustrating watching some of the film. Just there's some plays out there, just details of where we need to be. So there's some stuff to clean up, but it's one week at a time.
At safety Zane Anderson with sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
I'm Lisa Hale with WGBW News. Your news roundup in quick podcast form. You can find it anywhere at the WGBW website, WGBW.FM.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Any lingering flurries wrap up this evening, clearing overnight, cold, lows 0 to 5 below, wind chills to 20 below. For tomorrow, sunshine and a high near 10 above. Warming up, though, to the mid-20s by Friday with snow Friday night and Saturday. Currently, we're at 15.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The Maggie Dawn Show.
Jeffrey from Madison.
I worked for the city of Madison for 34 years. Act 10 cost me $42,000.
Yep.
In 1977, the state of Wisconsin passed a law that says public employees cannot strike. With Act 10, now we can't bargain for working conditions and benefits, so they basically turned public employees into second-class citizens.
Yes.
The Maggie Dawn Show. Weekdays from 2 till 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app.
The next New Wisco weekend is going to the dogs and the cats and all things animals. I'm Lisa Hale.
I'm Terry Barr from Rescues to Why Pets Are Good for You. You won't want to miss it.
Saturday mornings at 11, Sundays at broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay. This is Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood.
Whatever gets you through the night, it's all right.
And now, a guy who once planted evidence so he could make a citizen's arrest, Pete Schwaba.
Listen weekdays at 7 a.m., 11 a.m., 1 p.m., and 4 p.m. for the keywords to text for your chance to win in our grown-up gift list statewide text-to-win contest. You could win $100 cash, a Chula Vista overnight stay, and be entered to win one of 8 grand prizes on our grown-up gift list below. How come we're not part of that, Conrad?
I don't know.
Such
It sounds
a rip-off.
great, doesn't it?
Yeah. Hey, this is a great night to have Dan Schaefer here because we need some recombobulation. We had kind of a crazy start tonight with our issues, and we were discombobulated. But political editor here at our political editor here at Civic Media, Dan Schaefer, has agreed to stick around for a few more minutes. Dan, this is fun. Great to have you. What do you have a favorite kids movie? Like, do you have that movie where your kids are picking out a film and you're like, come on, pick out Toy Story or The Incredibles or something? Do you have a film you like to watch with them?
I like it. I think one of the things that I have gravitated towards encouraging them to watch is movies that don't have songs in them. Because if they have, if they watch Frozen or Moana or one of these songs that have one of these movies that have songs in it, I'm going to have those songs stuck in my head and I'm going to be singing them to myself for the rest of the week.
And kids, how about Band of Brothers? Come on. Yeah.
So I guess, more of like a Toy Story or Ratatouille or something like that has like, it's not like I'm not going to have the song stuck in my head for the rest of the week. And I'm not going to have, my daughter's asking me to play the Frozen soundtrack for the 7,000th time for that one as well. I actually just introduced them to one of my favorites from when I was a kid, which is the Mighty Ducks. So, I was surprised to learn that one holds up pretty well, and they actually enjoyed it.
Nice.
So I'm trying to bring back some of mine from the 90s for my kids to enjoy today.
Good luck with that. I had about a 50-50 rate with that. Sometimes they'd go for it, and sometimes I was like, Dad, we're not watching that again. So
yeah, it's been a lot of that. Yeah.
Do you have, okay, so here's what we thought we would do, Dan, to help you escape the recombobulation area temporarily, politics. Conrad put together a little, I would say, quiz of Christmas movies. And we'll play a clip, like a 30-second or so clip, and then you and I will try to figure out what it is. You can go first. I'll go first. I told him not to make them too difficult, so we should be okay here. Nobody's reputation will be tarnished when it comes to fun Christmas movies. Are you game?
Sounds good. Let's do it. I'm up first.
All right. Yeah. Con, whenever you're ready, let's play the first clip.
No. Louis? My tree.
So what's the matter with you?
Look what you've done to my tree.
I think Dan's got it.
So do I just go ahead and say it once I know it?
It is an ugly tree anyway.
Christmas Vacation, one of my absolute favorite Christmas movies.
Where's the bell? Conrad, we need some bell action. There we go. I can't find my bell. This is terrible. Well done, Dan. All right, Dan is 1 for 1. That was Christmas Vacation. Was that one of the easier ones, Conrad, or one of the harder ones, would you say?
That was one of the easier ones.
Okay, good. All right. So let's do this. Dan, since you're the guest, you go first, and if you can't, I'll see if I can bail you out, but I might not know them either. But let's go with
good.
Let's go with clip number 2. Dan Schaefer from the recombobulation area and the Christmas quiz.
Who the heck are you?
What are you talking about? I'm Santa Claus.
No, you're not.
Why, of course I am.
Well, if you're Santa, what song did I sing for you on your birthday this year?
Happy birthday, of course. So, how old are you, son?
You got it?
You're a big boy. What's your name?
All right, I think.
And what can I get you?
Dan's
for
on it.
Don't tell him what you want. He's a liar.
Well, this is another one of my favorites. This is Elf with Will Ferrell.
Just cool.
Well done. 2 for 2.
On a throne of lies.
See, this is just all right. Dan is on a roll. He knows his Christmas movies. Have you watched any?
You happen to start with, I think, maybe my 2 favorite Christmas movies, Christmas Vacation and Elf. So, you must have really done your research here, Pete.
Well, Christmas with the Cranks is coming up, so let's see if you know that one. One of the newer. No, I'm just kidding. Oh my God, Conrad. All right, never mind. I didn't say anything. Conrad, go ahead. Clip number 3 for Dan Schaefer.
Why are you whispering, Luther? This is our house.
I'm whispering for the same reason you're hiding behind that curtain.
I made it a short clip because I thought the name would give it away.
Does that sound familiar, Dan?
I didn't catch that one. No.
I can play it one more time for you.
All right, one more time.
Why are you whispering, Luther? This is our house.
I'm whispering for the same reason you're hiding behind that curtain.
I'm going to guess it just because I think I gave it away before. Christmas with the Cranks? I just pulled that out of nowhere. I had no idea Conrad pulled that. All right, so that was kind of a cheat. That one doesn't count. Dan is 2 for 2. So let's go with clip number 4.
Harry, help me get up! I got
it! That is one of the greatest moments in cinema history. And I think Dan knows it. Go ahead.
It's Home Alone, isn't it?
The whole movie is prologue until that moment, in my opinion. That's how funny Daniel Stern's scream is. All right, Dan is 3 for 3. How many more do we have, Conrad? We got one more. All right, let's see how Dan does. He's batting 1,000. We're not going to count the Christmas with the Cranks. Conrad, roll clip number 5.
I suppose it'd been better if I'd never been born at all.
What'd you say?
I said I wish I'd never been born.
Oh, you mustn't say things like that. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's an idea. What do you think? Yeah, that'll do it. All right. You've got your wish. You've never been born.
Ooh, that's tough.
Now, was that A Wonderful Life?
Conrad. Yes.
All right.
Well done, Dan. Hey, this was fun, buddy. I hope you had a good time, and it was great to have you on the show. Keep up the great work at Civic Media, and keep being a great dad and watching those movies with your kids. Teach them to be couch potatoes like I've done with my kids. That's where it's at. I'm an inside guy, and I'm a proud inside guy. So thank you. Thanks for your time tonight, buddy. It was fun.
Thanks so much for having me. I'll have to come back sometime soon.
I hope so. All right, Dan. Thanks so much. That's Dan Schaefer. Check out his column, his podcast, The Recombobulation Area. He does such a great job, and he is an absolute rock star when it comes to political commentating. So all his work is available at civicmedia.us. Thank you so much, Dan. All right, we can bring Kurt in anytime. Let's bring Kurt in, and I'm going to read some texts here because we're running a little behind. We got a late start due to some technical issues that were worked out pronto in an expert fashion by our guys in Madison and the kid Conrad Krieger. So Jack from Racine, sorry, that's not meant for us. Jim from Appleton says, Substack is the app I couldn't live without. No Substack equals no recombobulating. I wish I would have read that when Dan was here. That's great. Jim, that's a great text. And I should have asked Dan. I meant to ask Dan what app he can't live without. My guess it would be something similar to that. Here we go. Jim from Appleton also says, Civic Media app is way up on the list also. Thank you, Jim. Keep those texts coming. What is an app you can't live without? Today is National App Day. Yes, that is a day that exists. It is on the calendar. And we are celebrating by making that our question of the night. So you can text us at 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Text us on the stream or the app. However you can get a hold of us, just get a hold of us because we'd love to hear from you and read your texts on the radio. I have to say something. This was very concerning to me today. I'm trying to do this keto thing, but I got to have something sweet, right? So I've been eating these Quest peanut butter cups. Quest makes a whole bunch of products that are like low keto, low net carbs, that kind of thing. So once in a while, I'll get a pack of Quest peanut butter cups, and they have a wrapper around them, like the Reese's peanut butter cups do. Then I'll buy a pack that have no wrapper. It's just 2 peanut butter cups in there willy-nilly. I'm like, all right, well, I'm sure it's still sanitary, whatever. So today, I opened my peanut butter cups. 1 wrapped, 1 not.
Well, did you just throw it out?
I don't know what to do there. Did the guy, in quality control, what happened? Did he run out of wrappers and say, just stick it in there anyway? At least take the wrapper off the other one before you put them both in there. So I feel better about what I'm eating. I don't know. I feel like maybe I should write the company and get I've heard stories where people can write a company and they'll send them a year's supply or something.
Well, there you go. Say you had one with no wrappers in both.
Or wrappers in both.
Free supply of Quest peanut butter bars for life.
I could just say that. But I don't know if I can handle this keto diet for life. So.
Well, they're still good.
They're still good. I could sell them in the black market. I could be someone's Quest guy.
Unwrapped Quest for sale.
Right. Joining us right now in the studio, ladies and gentlemen, he's been here before. He's a Wisconsin actor based here in Northeast Wisconsin. He's always busy working on something, writing, producing, acting. Kurt Krause joins us now in the studio. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well, and thank you for having me.
Hey, it's always fun having you here, talking independent film. Do you have an app, Kurt, before we get into the nitty-gritty of what you're working on now, because it sounds like a really cool project,
Thank
Amphibious. We're going to talk all about it. What's an app you can't live without?
It's got to be a toss-up between my Airbnb app or my Uber app.
Because you travel so much?
Yep.
Oh, that's interesting.
And both of them are just like lifesavers.
Those are necessary, but not necessarily fun, I would say. But you can't live without them, and that was the question. That's fair.
It all depends on what you're doing when you get to the Airbnb. No, I'm just joking. Joking.
I don't know what you have planned on your nights in these Airbnbs. I just hope they change the sheets before and after, buddy. Do you have a fun app you like to have? Like I said, my video poker app. I have to play Texas Hold'em. Conrad, you said YouTube, right?
Yeah, I said YouTube.
And YouTube is up there for me too. I watch a lot of YouTube.
I'm probably in the YouTube.
YouTube?
Yeah.
What kind of videos do you watch when you're at the Airbnb?
No. They actually have a nice lineup now of films on YouTube, which you guys probably know.
Yeah.
They in the last couple of years really stepped it up from being like sort of like B budget. These
like B movies.
Yeah, which is what I go look for, like these old horror movies you couldn't find anywhere else, and YouTube.
Oh,
would have
sweet!
them.
I love that all these platforms, you can almost find anything you're looking for, which is so great. Because where are you going to find those movies 30 years ago?
I mean,
Right?
you saw them once on TV, and you're like, that movie was so weird. Where am I going to see that again?
Right. All right, Kurt Krause is here. We're going to do a very short break, and we're going to come back and talk about Kurt's new project, Amphibious, which sounds really cool and has a great message. This is Pete Schwaba and Nite Lite on the Civic Media Radio Network. Great to have you.
From Ashwaubenon to Alloway, this is 97.9 WGBW. The Todd Alba Show.
Luke Mathers, you let the dogs out.
I let the dogs out. It was me. After about 15 minutes, I go out there and I'm like, what is this mound? An opossum playing dead in the middle of the yard. So I'm out there kind of hollering, like trying to corral the dogs. And then we finally got Aurora to come in the house, stepped away for a little bit, came back and was gone. But I really hope that it remembers this traumatic experience and never comes back in my yard again.
The Todd Alba Show. Weekdays noon till 2 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Mino and the Mayor.
I'm going to admit something that I normally would not admit. A lot of times I don't wear underwear.
We got to go to a break.
I don't have a cart, and I'm carrying this stuff.
Yeah.
I got my finger in the loop, holding my pants up, because they would literally go down. And twice, people stopped me. Hey, John Mino, as I'm trying to hold my pants up and hold my stuff in my arms.
Mino and the Mayor, weekday morning 6 till 9 on 97.9 WGBW and 98.3 WISS.
It's easy to listen to your favorite local radio station anytime. Download the Civic Media app from the Apple or Google Play Store, then listen live or whenever you want from anywhere for free. You are never far away from your favorite radio station. We're always streaming on TuneIn and the Civic Media app. And if you missed your favorite show or game, listen to a podcast of it anytime on the
Our question tonight is, what app can't you live without? It's National App Day, ladies and gentlemen. It's about time our electronic friends have a day. Bridget in the 818 says, TikTok. I have learned a lot. Oh, nice. Been entertained and ordered cool stuff like boom sticks. I mentioned boom sticks. You know what a boom stick is?
No clue.
It says it's nothing weird.
Okay.
It's like a Vicks thing. It looks like a tube of chapstick. I thought Conrad's chapstick. It looks just like that. And you put it up to your nose and you breathe it in. It's just like vapor Vicks stuff to clear your sinuses. It's genius. So I'm with you, Bridget. I love the boom stick. Thank you for the text. Bridget texted last night, too. I got to find that. Conrad, we missed a text last night. We missed two of them, actually. Kurt, bear with me here. One texter, do you know Brett Kissinger?
The name sounds familiar.
He's an author that was in here. He's from Algoma, and someone from the 262 said, dang, Brett is a hottie. I did share that with him later when I was home. I said, hey, man, I'm sorry we missed this. We didn't read it on the air, but I'm sure he got a kick out of that. And let's see. She says, what's the title of his book? We talked about that. Okay, and then Bridget texted last night, too. She says, yes, our question last night was holiday cards, are they outdated? She says, yes, holiday cards are outdated. Stamps cost over 70 cents. Cards are bad for the earth. Time to move on. Do you do Christmas cards?
I get them, but I don't really send them.
Yeah. No, me either. Selfish. How about Facebook crashing today? You're a guy that uses the internet all the time. You're promoting short films, feature-length films. I've never even seen that. Facebook just, completely down. Did they ever find out what that was?
I haven't heard. And at first I thought, because I was sharing a little bit earlier, it's like everything just took longer to do today. And it was like simple tasks that could have been done in minutes. It's like, why is this taking me 10, 12 minutes? But a part of it was Facebook. I didn't know what was going on, but it was like, I think it was the whole Meta thing, because even Instagram too.
Oh, really?
Some of the stuff I was trying to like post or follow up on, all of a sudden it's like, I'm looking at it and I don't like my account isn't even there. Like this, I'm like, I don't think I've been canceled. So.
I think some numbskull at Facebook leaned the wrong way and knocked the plug out of the wall or something. And the whole world went into upheaval because we didn't have Facebook for 30 minutes. Well, they got it figured out. Good. Let's talk some movies here. You're working on a new project that you wanted to come on and talk about, and I thought it sounded great. Tell us about Amphibious.
So Amphibious is a film we're going to be shooting here in Green Bay, Wisconsin in 2025. And it's the story, inspirational film of a young person who was born with syndactyly. So he's got webbed hands and feet.
Wow.
And he's been hiding this thing all throughout middle school into high school. Now at this new high school, it's made public that he's got this condition. And as some kids do, he starts to become the target of bullying and of course isolation. But you also have a caring staff at this school who kind of go into emergency mode to try to get him on this blueprint for success. And it's actually the literature teacher who's also the swim coach who says, you see this gift that you have, you've been hiding this thing, but realize like with the right training, you're going to be really fast in the water, and every other kid would kill to have this. And so look at this as a gift. And flash forward, he starts to live up to that, and he becomes something of a pseudo celebrity in the school and in the community. And the very thing that made him feel isolated for so long and withdrawn from the world is now what's being celebrated. And so anyway, he uses the status to build up people around him. And it's really a heartwarming story at the end of it all.
Where did the idea for that come?
A lot of different places that all just one day came together while I was actually lap swimming at the pool. And it was different conversations. For a long time, I'd wanted to do a film that was going to be geared toward younger people, that would encourage them, especially through those difficult years when you're younger and you start to realize, oh my gosh, I'm different than all my other classmates, and whatever that may be. That's a terrifying thing when you're young.
Oh, sure.
And to then have people come into your life and say, no, these things that make you unique, it's like these special things are what ultimately make you who you are. And in our industry, obviously in the acting world, they always say be memorable.
Right.
And you realize how valuable that is as an adult, to have some of those distinguishing things that make you memorable. But yeah, younger you is like, no, you don't want anything to do with it. You just want to be under the radar, just want to, do school and just get by.
Is this at all based on a true story or a character that inspired it?
Not so much with the physical condition.
But that is a real condition.
But it is a real condition. Yeah. And after doing the script, it was actually a writer friend of mine. She told me that her aunt was on a girls' swim team with a gal who had that condition. And she swam all 4 years with the syndactyly condition.
That's crazy. Will it be shot here in Wisconsin? And if so, where? In Northeast Wisconsin?
So the hope is to shoot all of it in like Green Bay, Ashwaubenon.
Okay.
And again, working with Film Green Bay Inc. I know we wanted to get Nick Waddy here tonight.
Yeah.
But he had another obligation, unfortunately. But we're funding this through Film Green Bay, them as our fiscal sponsor, so that businesses that like the message, want to see filmmaking here in Green Bay, can donate through Film Green Bay. And it's a tax deductible donation. So it helps us meet our budget, spread this message. And then, and ultimately they get the tax deduction that a lot of them are looking for and looking to put their money into good things,
So is that organization, is that an investment that you get like a return on your investment, or is it more of a grant, or do people just donate money? Like I haven't heard of this kind of film financing, and I thought it was kind of interesting what you sent me. How does that work?
So this is also the.
Let's say I've got $3 on me, and I want to invest $3 in the film.
Yep.
I could buy a sandwich in the craft services line.
Absolutely.
Every little bit helps.
Yeah, and a good coffee,
For $3? I don't know. I think you're looking at Sanka, buddy.
Yeah, maybe it's gone up. But this would be looked at as donation, and obviously, community impact. So things that are great for businesses.
Okay.
We haven't developed in this particular way an investment plan yet. This is the first time doing it through something like Film Green Bay. And
Gotcha.
it actually comes at a very unique time because the NFL draft is coming to Green Bay in 2025, and it's a great time for all of us and this message to be on the national spotlight.
Yeah, you have a lot of extras you'll have access to. Like 300,000 people are coming to Green Bay. There's like 100,000 people here. I can't wait to see where these people stay. It's going to be fun. Kurt Krause is my guest. We are talking about his film that will be shot in the upcoming year. Listen up. Maybe you can audition. I don't know. It's called Amphibious. We'll jump more back into that after the news here as Civic Media's Crack News team keeps you informed. Right, Conrad? And we got to talk about the contest. It's a great contest, too. We'll do that when we come back, too, and we'll have more with Kurt. Stay tuned, folks. We are coming right back. This is the Civic Media Radio Network, and I'm Pete Schwaba.
When did I fall? I wanna cry, cry, cry.
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home of Mino and the Mayor.
Local radio for you and your community. It's Civic Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. The Wisconsin kayaker who faked his own death is now in police custody. Savannah Tomei Olson has the story.
It's one of the most bizarre stories of the year here in the Badger State. 45-year-old Ryan Borgwart of Watertown was first presumed dead after he went missing on Green Lake. But after weeks of extensive searches, authorities knew he wasn't there, and they managed to figure out that he was alive and well and had staged the scene and then ran off to Eastern Europe. Ever since, the Green Lake County Sheriff's Office took on a new mission, one you don't often see from law enforcement. They wanted him to come home to his family. They've been talking with him for weeks, trying to get him to return to Wisconsin on his own. Sheriff Mark Podol was teary in a press conference today, thanking his deputies for convincing him to come home.
They're the ones that kept us going. I couldn't be more proud of them, of what they did for a family. We didn't give up, and we can stand here today feeling relieved.
The sheriff had previously said Borgwart developed a relationship with a woman in Uzbekistan and had bought additional life insurance earlier this year. Borgwart is now facing charges. Authorities had said he would likely be required to pay back the $40,000 to $50,000 spent searching for him. For Civic Media News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson.
Children's Wisconsin, including the location in the Fox Valley, has new policies for visitors starting today. Officials say the policy change is part of its viral season precautions. The updated policy will only allow visitors ages 12 and older. Only 4 people are allowed at the patient's bedside, except in the Fox Valley NICU, where only 2 people are allowed bedside. And each patient is limited to a fixed list of 6 approved visitors throughout their entire stay. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Home Alone is at the top of many people's viewing list every holiday season. According to an Instagram poll conducted by the website Puberty, Home Alone was voted the greatest Christmas movie of all time. The film garnered 446,000 votes to take first place ahead of The Nightmare Before Christmas, which came in second. If you want to be entertained, read the comments on the Instagram poll where people argue about Christmas movies, and not exactly with holiday cheer. Other runner-ups included The Santa Claus, Christmas Vacation, Elf, and It's a Wonderful Life. You want to talk about range as an actor? Who could play Bruce Springsteen, a wrestler in Iron Claw, and the son of Jabba the Hutt? The answer is Jeremy Allen White. White has just signed on to play Jabba the Hutt's son in The Mandalorian and Grogu. Variety reports that White will provide the voice for the role and that this is the Emmy-winning actor's first role in a major movie franchise. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nite Lite with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Your news, conversations, and a whole lot of fun. It's all on your local Civic Media radio station or the Civic Media app.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Any lingering flurries wrap up this evening, clearing overnight, cold, lows 0 to 5 below, wind chills to 20 below. For tomorrow, sunshine and a high near 10 above. Warming up, though, to the mid-20s by Friday, with snow Friday night and Saturday. Currently, we're at 15.
Hi, I'm Michael Friedman, CEO of Simple Life Hospitality. Let us take the hassle out of vacation rental property management. We'll maximize your earnings and handle every detail from cleaning to maintenance and repairs. For guests, enjoy a stay that feels like home with hand-selected properties, personal touches like local recommendations, and extras like concierge service that will make your trip unforgettable. Whether you're a homeowner or a traveler, experience the Simple Life. Visit simpleliferentals.com.
Matt Nair on air. This shouldn't be a thing.
Michigan man leads lawnmower chase. I'll stop, says the suspect. Instead, he reaches under the seat and pulls out a gun.
Shoots himself in the hand.
The deputy has his taser trained on him, and yes, he tased him.
I'm not advocating for crime, but boost something that goes faster than cop on foot.
Matt Nair on air. Weekdays 10 till noon on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. Dom Selvia.
Next time, former U.S. Attorney and host of Amicus, a law review, James Santel will join me to discuss the ramification of FBI Director Christopher Wray stepping down, what it means for the
Civic Media at 7 a.m., 11 a.m., 1 p.m., and 4 p.m. for the keywords. Once you hear those keywords, you have your chance to win. You text in, and you have a chance to win in our grown-up gift list statewide text-to-win contest. Conrad, what can they win?
Well, I mean, $100 cash, a Chula Vista overnight stay, and be entered to win one of the great 8 grand prizes.
I'll take the first 2. I'll take I'll take Chula Vista with $100 of walking around money, and
I'll take all 10.
Well, I don't want to be greedy. I don't think we qualify, which is kind of a jip, but that's okay. Jack from Merrimack weighs in and says, "What app can't I live without? Definitely YouTube. I've learned to do everything from repairing my dryer." Oh, that's a great point. YouTube has all those great. I don't know who these people are, but they're saints that take hours of time to post videos of themselves fixing wipers on a car or a dryer, like Jack is saying. He says, I've learned how to do everything from repairing my dryer to replacing my car radio. And when I want to learn a new song, I sing along with Ella, because I found she sings most of her songs in my key. I think that's what they call a humble brag. I think Jack is saying he has a voice like Ella Fitzgerald, which good for you, Jack. Why don't you record something, Jack, and send it to us? We'd love to play it on the air. We'll see if Conrad has the same key as you and Ella. All right, my guest is Kurt Krause. He is here. He is a local actor and filmmaker, producer. He's working on a new film called Amphibious. And give us the brief thumbnail again, and then we'll get into some of the particulars here, Kurt, about what people can find out and how they can find out more about the project.
Yeah, the quick synopsis is he's a high school student born with syndactyly. So he's got webbed hands and feet. And when that's discovered, he's targeted and bullied by some students, but you have caring personnel at the school who really help him get on a track for success. And it's the swim coach who ultimately helps him recognize that having webbed hands and feet is a gift in the water. And, you know, you've been blessed with the gift to be, you know, super fast as a swimmer. And Amphibious then, of course, is really about adapting to life situations. And, you know, each of us are in that way, you know, born with something unique, something that separates us from each other, and it can be used ultimately as something good.
So is this a feature-length film?
Yep.
Wow, good for you, dude. Are you in the film? You have a role, I would assume. Maybe you're going to play the guidance counselor or something, or are you just focusing on behind-the-scenes stuff?
I think to do this one right, I'm going to just have to focus on behind the scenes. I think I'll pull myself too thin if I try to do anything more.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, good for you to know that. I mean, you have to know your limitations, right? I think a lot of filmmakers bite off more than they can chew. They're on camera directing and they write it, and I'm speaking from experience. What is the original You campaign?
So the original You kind of fits in that whole theme of discovering and embracing those things that are authentically you, and not hiding them, and not not using them to lord over other people, but recognizing who you are and who you are to one another, and that everything you have can be used to build up the people around you. And it's really a whole campaign that I hope kind of 180s the way I think a lot of young people and a lot of older folks. So it's like to reimagine how your life is and to see who you are in terms of the lives that run closest to you, your family, your friends, your coworkers, and I've done work on like the anti-suicide campaigns and suicide awareness.
Yeah, you have that in here. How does that? So you have that message too. On the film's website, it says the message of the film and the campaign itself work to curb teen suicide, self-harm. I assume that's part of the story, what the character deals with. But and you've done that before. You were in that film festival in Madison, Wisconsin, that dealt with mental health. That seems to be something you champion in films you make, and I think that's really cool. Is it hard to work that into the story without making it seem extraneous?
Well, the hope is that we could take something that oftentimes, when discussed, often goes very dark. There was a series years ago called 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah,
I thought the series was done well, but it does go very dark. And this is just a quick side, but one of the things that really pushed me to say I needed to do something now was that years back, an actor friend of mine were working with high school students to prep them and do actors workshops and whatnot, mostly for stage acting. And a number of years later, one of these students, who was a lead in the show, a 3-sport athlete, he took his own life.
Oh my gosh!
And that very same week, another student at that school who was he was on the spectrum, had trouble making friends. He did the same thing, and so they had 2 suicides in 1 week. And it was one of those things that it's like, what's going on that young people aren't seeing themselves, the way the rest of us see them, and the hole that they leave, when they decide to, I've heard it said it's a permanent solution to a short-term problem.
I agree, and I think and this is just my own opinion, but I think if kids have more access to theater and the arts, I think, and again, I have nothing to back it up. I'm a writer, host, actor. But I think those numbers will go down. I think if they have something to throw themselves into, and that's why I wish the arts they're available in high schools for sure, but I don't know that we get kids involved in them early enough. I'd like to see more kids theater and get kids involved in that kind of stuff so they have this activity. If they don't want to do anything with it later, that's fine. But I mean, throwing yourself into this, I think it's great therapy for kids, in a positive way.
Very much so. And with the Mental Health Warrior Film Festival that we've been working at down in Madison, it's that idea that you can use creativity to confront, you can use creativity to work your way through things. And,
right, absolutely.
And so, I hope this film can offer that, obviously with the message and the campaign, but ultimately it's a drop in the water to anything that can happen, and hopefully a lot more that we can do to help young people. And again, it's geared toward young people, but the message is meant for everyone. And I know it's not just high schoolers who are struggling; that it's adults as well. And that anyone who comes to watch this film is going to hopefully have that takeaway.
Yeah. That is the voice of Kurt Krause. He is a Northeast Wisconsin-based actor, producer, writer, and sounds like soon-to-be director. Joining me here on Nite Lite, we are talking about independent film here in the state. We mentioned earlier, or we talked during the break, since I've been doing this show, I've noticed, or I've learned of, I should say, a kind of a burgeoning indie film community here in Northeast Wisconsin. Would you say it's a healthy climate for the most part?
I'd say it's getting better and better all the time. Yeah. Okay. And we've all at some point or another now have worked with each other, know of each other.
Yeah.
And I think there's also a willingness to want to work together.
Which is huge.
Yeah. I don't see a lot of rivalry in in Wisconsin for this film group is working against this film group. We're not working with each other. It's, you know, if somebody needs something, it always seems like there's somebody there to step up and help. And it's been so cool to see.
So I see your social media posts because we're friends on a lot of the platforms, and you know, you're always posting stuff. You're always working on stuff. You really hustle.
Thank you.
Some of it's acting, some of it's producing. You're writing this. And I mentioned before, I've done the acting, writing, directing thing. I also raise money. It is a lot going on. And I feel like, you know, in the film The Godfather of Green Bay, it might have affected my acting a little bit. It couldn't not have. Like, because you're so worried when you're directing and you have material that you wrote that's very dear to you that other people are performing, and you have to focus on their performances. What is your favorite thing to do in the filmmaking process? You're sitting the acting, you're not going to take a role in this film. So you're going to direct, I assume?
Right now, until I get the right team where I say, okay, I can step back from the producing side. I have to be heavy on the producing side right now.
Okay.
Just to be sort of that ongoing force with it.
What's your favorite hat to wear?
Yeah, at the end of the day, I'll still say I'm an actor.
Okay.
And the acting hat's my favorite, but
yeah.
I've enjoyed producing, being a production coordinator, directing. I've enjoyed even dabbling, working as a gaffer and light design. I also do art direction. And
I saw that in your resume.
I love art direction.
Can you cry as an actor? Really?
I think
if you had to do tears right now, could you do it?
Oh yeah.
Conrad, let's make him cry. Come on.
I don't like to be mean.
Conrad cries on a nightly basis because I'm me.
Well, I know with the tech backup earlier today. I mean, that was a reason. Yeah, reason to.
We got through it.
Right.
It's fine.
Yeah. Now it's tears of joy.
Tears of joy, exactly.
Yeah.
So you swam. This is one of your posts I saw, and this is where I got confused because I saw amphibious. I also saw you swam the channel in Sturgeon Bay, right?
That's correct.
How long ago was that?
So I did it on really the last nice day to swim in open water, which was October 4th.
What on earth? You swam in Wisconsin on October 4th, and it's got to be pretty deep, I would imagine.
It's very deep in the middle, but it's actually
ships.
surprisingly shallow for most of it. And then where the ships come through and they're very precise, then it goes down quite deep. How
long is that? Like, what kind of swim were you looking at there?
So that was a half-mile swim.
Oh, okay. That's not too bad, right?
Yeah, not horrible. Just a warm up. No.
I used to swim 40 minutes a day, and my wife says, "I bet you just go there and do cannonballs, don't you? Like a grown man, doing." But I would swim. But did you like doggy paddle? Did you actually do like swimming?
Freestyle and breaststroke? Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, thank you.
Were you freezing when you got out, or
when I first got in, it was like, okay, you feel it in your ears the most.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you feel like you're getting a touch of a head cold, but you just keep plugging away. And then when I got to the other side, it was one of those things where you're like climbing up slick rocks and you just feel like you've got like just all the shivers.
It's that cold, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Did I imagine you swam a lot faster if you saw a huge ship coming in? Like, did you have the ship schedule?
What was wild was that it was the homecoming parade for Sturgeon Bay High School. So there was like zero boat traffic.
Oh, nice.
One boat came through, which was just a little wreck vehicle. And then there was a dude out on a jet ski. And it's, I would just tread water and give him a thumbs up, letting him know, hey, I'm not out here drowning. And then they would keep on going.
That still seems dangerous. You didn't have anybody in a boat next to you, like for safety?
I was originally going to go with a spotter, and it was getting so tough on those last days. The window was closing for water warm enough to swim in. And so we tried a couple of different days, wasn't going to work. And then I went out every day I was checking the water, get out there. It's like the water is so calm. And then I said, all right, this is the day we're doing it. And just no spotter. The next swim I do will absolutely have a motorized boat with us for a quick emergency, but we're not.
If you don't,
for that.
I just want to say skinny dip. That will keep people away. They'll think you're crazy or something like, I think this guy, I don't think he's drowning. All right. Well, that's pretty cool. All right. Kurt Krause is my guest here. What I want to ask you about, all right, you're on the board of the Door County Film Festival. Door County is one of my favorite places. I live right across the bay from Door County. We go there a couple times a year, I would say. Just such a gorgeous place. A well-kept secret, even though it's, highly traveled by tourists. I still feel like it's still kind of a secret, Will you have a film festival there? Are people on board with it?
So, yeah, this festival, previous to my joining it, has been going on. This is actually the 16th year. And
I'm sorry, not a festival. A film office.
Oh,
You were
the film
thinking about
office, yeah.
starting there. Will that take hold or what?
So that's actually going to be a meeting that happens tomorrow where we do the formal presentation with Destination Door County. So this film office, actually, this whole idea came about 6 months ago. And there was an artist, Rebecca Carlton, who had a series called Are We Listening? And so she brought together, as a part of a sculpture, an exhibit she was doing, she brought together multiple people in different spheres. And so when she brought together filmmakers, it was cool that some of us knew of each other, but what was mind-blowing is that there were so many of us up there that we didn't know of each other's existence, what we were doing. And one of the cool ones was Kevin Werenberg, who's the producer of Fear Factor and Wipeout, has a business up in Door County.
Oh, really?
And so this idea advanced, what could we do to grow filmmaking in Door County? And it turned into, let's put together an exploratory committee of a Door County film office. So yeah, that meeting actually happens tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
That's awesome. You probably don't know this about me. I make a killer casserole. I'm going to show up with a casserole. We'll pass around a hot dish. We'll get this thing pushed through.
I love it.
All right.
I love it.
Kurt will be here for a couple more minutes. We're going to close this thing down when we come back. So great to have you with me here on Nite Lite tonight. Text us if you want. Join the show. This is Pete Schwaba and Nite Lite on the Civic Media Radio Network.
To the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for the Maggie Dawn Show.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
I'm Dan Schaefer. Let's recombobulate. Big news in Wisconsin this month, as much of the controversial anti-union Act 10 law was struck down in a ruling by Dane County Circuit Court Judge Jacob Frost. Two takeaways on this. One, the ruling gets at the heart of what has always made this law so brazenly political, by defining public safety employees differently from general public employees. That decision was pretty clearly made not based on across-the-board policy, but on which unions backed Scott Walker for governor in 2010. It would be fitting if that is what ultimately spells the end for this controversial law. Secondly, this case is headed to an appeal, which almost certainly will end up at the Wisconsin Supreme Court. While this case still might be decided by the court's current 4-3 liberal majority, it's a good reminder of just how important the upcoming race for state Supreme Court will be.
Find all of Dan's work at the
Movie called Collateral with Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx. Tom Cruise plays a hitman who rolls into L.A. and he has to take out 5 witnesses in one night. He has to make 5 stops. He hires Jamie Foxx to drive him around in a cab, doesn't tell him what he's doing, just acts like he has to have papers signed. And there's one scene where they go to a jazz club because they have time to kill. And Tom Cruise, you find out while they're watching this jazz performer, and the place clears out. He buys the jazz performer a drink, sits him down. Pretty soon it's just the three of them in the club, and then you realize he's one of the guys that Tom Cruise has to take out. It's a brutal scene. It's a great scene. The actor, his name escapes me at the moment, but the guy who plays the jazz musician is great. Jamie Foxx is great. Tom Cruise. It's a great movie. To me, it's like almost a perfect movie.
That's awesome.
So yeah, check it out. But I love that Miles Davis. All right, Kurt Krause is here, ladies and gentlemen. He's a Green Bay, Wisconsin-based, Northeast Wisconsin-based actor and producer. So, what would a film office do for Door County? Would that bring film to Door County and try to get things shot there? Are you kind of limited as to what you can shoot there? It's a beautiful area, but you can't really shoot any kind of urban things there.
Yeah, not urban, but there's such a variety of landscape and environmental. You've got beautiful resorts. You've got like 1,001 unique individual buildings, whether that be barns, little wedding chapels. It's very scenic and very versatile.
Yeah.
But we're hoping this film office would be the one-stop shop for if somebody's considering shooting something, you would find it right there on the Destination Door County website. And you could click to find locations, or these are gear rental places nearby. These are production people who are living up here. These are actors you could potentially hire as local, and the idea is that you can get a lot of that legwork done just by coming right to that website.
Nice.
And then of course, Destination Door County being the tourist hub, they've got all the business emails. So if businesses were on board to offer catering, or whether it be offering trucks for Grip and Electric, you could have that whole list there and contact info.
That's huge. What kind of movies? Like, it seems like Door County is so beautiful. I almost picture like a romance movie, like a Somewhere in Time being shot there, or the area is also famous. We've talked a little bit about this on this show. Shipwrecks.
Yeah.
And there's ghost stories involved. Like, you could either shoot like really scary stuff there or really kind of sweet romantic stuff, it seems like.
I think it does draw a mix of the two, because the last project I worked on up there, Angels in the Rye, had that very sweet element to it. And at least the scenes they shot in Door County were dating and going out to the restaurant. And then, one of the other projects I knew that was up there in the last year or so was done as a horror film. So I think you can get that draw for both.
That's pretty cool. Well, I wish you luck with that. The meeting is tomorrow. Keep me posted on that. I would love it if there was a Door County film office. And not just because I want to show up with a casserole. I do. Kurt is going to swim. You're going to swim the channel again, you said?
Well, I have a bigger one coming up.
What are you going to swim next?
So whether it's going to be
across Lake Michigan.
Not quite.
Oh, come on, dude.
But I would love to, in this next year, do the Death's Door swim, which would be a 7-mile swim.
Oh, you are out of your
from
mind.
Washington Island to
You are
Gillis Rock.
crazy. You're not doing that.
And believe it or not, it's been done by just a small handful of people over the years. But
did anybody ever get lost while they were doing that?
Not to my knowledge, but yeah, no. One gal, she trained for quite a while, and she did that swim. And she was the first to do it. And then I think it was 2 or 3 friends who all swam it together a number of years later. So it's a really kind of a fascinating history of swimming in Door County.
Listen,
as well.
if you swim Death's Door, Kurt, and I'm telling you this because you're a friend, get yourself a really heavy duty pair of water wings, because ships go down there. You think you're swimming that? That's crazy.
Well,
you got to have a spotter for that one.
That one will absolutely have a spotter. So,
all right.
Yeah, we'll do it safe. We'll do it right.
This on the stream. Craig Kennett says, Pete, you and Kurt are an inspiration. Wow. I love what you have to say about the arts to our youth. Well, Craig's a teacher, and he does a lot of great things, teaching kids the arts and acting and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And then in all caps, he typed Door County Film Office. So people are on board.
That's awesome.
And if my casserole puts you over the top tomorrow, maybe I should bring a bundt cake too.
I think that would really
all
seal
right, some
the deal.
refreshments.
Yep.
Conrad, bring some Yoo-Hoo, maybe some juice boxes.
A boom boom stick.
Let's nail this thing. Let's bring a boom boom stick. This has been fun. We got off to a rough start. We had some technical issues. The guys in Madison crushed it. Conrad worked hard. Todd Michaels was on the phone with us. We figured it out. We finally got Dan Schaefer on the on the show on time at 6:35. And then Kurt Krause was patient enough. He gave us a few more minutes with Dan before he came in. Tomorrow night, it is our popcorn pick of the week, ladies and gentlemen, with former mayor and co-host of Mino and the Mayor here on WGBW and WISS, former Green Bay Mayor Jim Schmidt will be making our popcorn pick of the week. That's tomorrow night at 6:35. And then I will be joined by Rob Thomas, who is the CityCast Madison newsletter editor and a film critic who has done great work over the years and is just a phenomenal critic. I almost agree with everything he writes. And that's tomorrow night on Nite Lite. But what do you got, buddy?
Well, I brought you a picture
look
from
at this.
Godfather of Green Bay, circa 2003.
All right, so here's the picture. I made this film, The Godfather of Green Bay, I shot up in Marinette for 20 days. Then we shot in L.A. and Vegas for a week, and Kurt was an extra. Can people see that, Conrad?
Have to closer a little bit.
Closer.
And
right,
up. And up, because you see the camera.
I'm going to have a T-shirt.
There you go.
How's that? Good God.
I think they got the gist of it.
Listen, it's almost too handsome of a picture anyway to show to the general public. Hey, thank you for coming in, buddy. This was fun.
Thank you for having me.
My thank you to Dan Schaefer. Thank you for all your texts and calls tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for sticking with us. We will be back tonight, and the lovable producer Conrad will be here, too, with his chapstick. So that's tomorrow night on Nite Lite. Good night, Wisconsin.